on here? Maybe I might have to restart that as well. Hang on, this it's showing somebody, other people showing up, but it's like uh, nobody seems to really be sticking around. So can you just go away? If you have nothing good to say, don't say anything. It's like they're just trying to piss me off, but not gonna let it. It's just pathetic. A lot of the times they're projecting, they're trying to project onto other people to feel better about themselves, or they're just bored or whatever. Whatever the reason is, it's just kind of sad. What is it? Winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. I'm not saying that I'm a winner in life necessarily, but at least I'm trying. At least I'm trying to go in the right direction and do better for myself. But you get all these people out there trying to you know, put me down or whatever. Well, it's probably because they themselves they're not happy with themselves. So I kind of pity them really, because if that's what your whole life is about, then I kind of feel sorry for you, because that's sad. Hey, Loretta, how you doing? Hope you're having a good day, everybody. Welcome in here. I'm doing fine, thank you. How's your day going so far? Hello, Violi. You're right. Welcome in here. So I plan on doing some busking soon. I'm just trying to figure out the best setup for it, really. Hello, Violi. You all right? I'm good. Yeah, that's good to hear. Have I pronounced it correctly? Hopefully, I pronounced your name correctly. I got 8 people in here now. That's cool. Yeah. Right. Thank you for the likes, everybody. Anyway, just gonna let's see what happens really, but not gonna be on too long, I don't think. Where you came from? The UK. What about you? I'm guessing you haven't been before or something. Welcome in anyway. Yeah. Hopefully, I can start to grow my channel when I start going out and performing and stuff. I look forward to doing that soon. I've done it before. It's just I think it'd be good to try and film it. Oh, you're from the Philippines. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, Philippines is literally the other side of the world. Yeah, I was actually thinking about going and living there at some point, but I don't know about that really. Everywhere's got its problems, is what I've come to realize. A lot of people, they want to move to a different country, but then it might have its benefits, but then also you've got to think about the drawbacks and stuff as well. I'm 30 years old. What about you? Yeah, is it on YouTube then? It's kind of dead over there. I don't know. Oh well. Yeah, doesn't seem like they're pushing it out to anybody over there. So whatever. Okay. Yeah, all right. Vita, how you doing? Welcome in here. I'm 46, turning to 47 by January. Oh yeah. Yeah. All right, Life of Ali. Yeah, it's just because I'm on the laptop. Ali, it's just that I haven't got anything else that I can do because unless I plugged my webcam in, but I mean, I could try that, but it just kind of the angle messes up a bit. So I don't know. So that I just have to kind of have a bit of a bad quality, I guess. But yeah, because I'm on TikTok as well, so I'm trying to use both devices for it, both my phone and my laptop. So I don't know if that's ruining my viewers over on YouTube. I don't know, but I tend to not get that many on YouTube anyway. So that's just how I'm doing it right now. Anyway, is everyone okay? Stream busking on YouTube. Can I get a strike? So like, it's all a load of BS to me, really. Ishmatu J, thank you for the follow. I mean, it's understandable. Yeah, yeah, I'm doing fine, thank you, Ishmatu. Hope you well too. Yeah, just like, yeah, it's probably best not. Yeah, I'm doing that on YouTube then. So anyone who watches me on YouTube, unfortunately, I won't be able to film the busking, so I don't want to end up risking getting strikes and stuff, really. So that just sucks, really, doesn't it? A lot of this copyright stuff, I understand some of it, but it's like I think some of it goes too far. Like where people are just like performing, like say karaoke and stuff like that, or whatever, and then get like a strike for it or something. I just find it just, you know. I think that there should be some revenue split maybe or something like that, where you split some of your ad revenue or something like that. But I don't think they should just like cut it off because you're playing someone else's song or something. But it's like you're doing your own rendition of that, so it should be seen as like kind of, you know, like transformative in a way. You're not just straight up copying it. You're doing your own rendition. Obviously, you could say, well, they should be allowed to have some revenue from that because they have the rights to that song or something. But I just find they just get really greedy and just like, you know, that. I don't know. I don't know really. Violi says your house looks nice. Okay, thank you. I don't know really because I guess Tony Hawk maybe because I used to like the Tony Hawk games and stuff when I was a kid. Tony Hawk's skateboarding games. Don't know if anyone ever played that. Yeah, I used to like them actually. That was yeah, I used to like playing a lot of those. The soundtracks were really good as well. Like yeah, some good memories from that. You know, it was yeah, I played quite a few of them actually. Yeah, I played almost all of them up to about Proving Grounds, but then after that, they went really bad because they started doing this thing with like this board that you had to get. So you had to get this like kind of virtual skateboard thing, and it was just pointless. It's like, well, why would they expect people to then, you know, splash out on that kind of shit? It just seemed like a really gimmicky crap, really. And I guess it was just another way for them to try and make a lot of money because you know, you had the game, but then you had to buy a friggin' add-on to it, which just felt really kind of like unnecessary and just takes away from that experience or whatever. There's just like maybe they could have had it as like an extra thing, but I don't bothered. It didn't even work properly. Like on that ride and the shred games, they just apparently were just like pointless. Really, I never actually got into like the skate games. I should have played that I would like to play that at some point, but apparently they had some pretty good games, like they were a bit like Tony Hawk games, but it was like, yeah. But I remember they started to like get popular as Tony Hawk started to kind of die off. Yeah, Lou, how you doing? Hope everyone's doing well today. Yeah, because like, I remember back when the Tony Hawk stuff was popular, and yeah, it was yeah, quite fun. Anyway, is everybody okay? Hope everyone's well today then. Are you still there, Sean? Do you still see Freddie? So I think I've seen you in Freddie's live. So I won't really come on here as much, but I said I want to try and get into the busking. I'm going to try and focus on that. Once the weather's okay, it's not too bad. Even if it's cold, it's okay. Just wrap up and just keep myself warm. But if it's like raining and all that, and cold and raining, it's just not very nice. And windy, and that's just horrible. It's not good, is it? The thing with like UK, oftentimes it can throw off your plans and stuff like that, where you might have a plan to do something, but then the weather just kind of completely throws it off, where you thought that things were going to go a certain way, and then just suddenly there was a slight change in the wind direction and completely thrown everything off. Whereas in some other country, like they have a lot more kind of, let's say in Spain, like if it's summertime, it hardly ever rains. Like even in France, I don't think it rains that much in the summer there either. Like when I was in Paris, I think it's only maybe rained like one day out of the like days that I was there. And I've been twice, so I think it only rained like for one day, and I think it only had like maybe like it rained for like an hour or something. It had a shower, and then it wasn't even cold. It was just like a warm rain. Whereas in this country, like it can be raining in the middle of summer and it can just go on all day, and it's crap really, but it is what it is. Miss Kitty, okay, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, that's just the thing with the UK. It's just one of the worst things about it that people complain about is the weather. But people tend to love to complain, but just got to deal with it, wrap up. If it's raining, just, put more layers on or something. Put a rainproof jacket on or whatever. All right, Steve, you all right? Good to see you again. How are you doing? Hope everyone's well today. Love British weather, hate the heat. I only like it when it's kind of just mild and just kind of okay. Like as in, it can be a bit shit when it gets too hot, but I kind of just get used to it after a while. But yeah, I'm okay, thank you. The only thing with heat is that there's only so much you can do to try and cool down. Whereas if you're cold, you can just keep putting layers on and make yourself warm. But apparently in some like places, I think they were talking about this in like, I think it's Svalbard, where they have like triple glazing or something, because they have to have that in order to like kind of just to survive in that. Like this is brutally cold, and even in summer it's like below freezing. That's how cold it is up there. Yeah, so it's like above like Norway. You think Norway's, but it's like worse than that. It's like it's literally up in like, I think it's up in the Arctic Circle. It's like, yeah, it's above like kind of Iceland and Norway and all that. Hello, Judy Ann, how you doing? You all right? Hope you're well today. Yeah, welcome back. Yeah, so how are you doing, Steve-O? Everybody okay then? Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Just yeah, it's been a bit snowy this morning, but it hasn't really stuck, so that's good. Anyway, so yeah, I don't really know what else to really talk about, so I just wonder what you guys want to talk about today. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. I don't know, like, yeah, I kind of struggle to really sort of connect with people, really, but yeah. Is everyone okay? I found there's 6 people still in here. So let me know if you're watching. There seems to be some lurkers at the moment, so have a quick drink. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. It seems to have frozen up again. What is going on here? It's just stuck on. Hang on, it started up again. Something seems to do that every so often. But if everyone hear me all right, then apparently there's 7 people watching. So say hello if you're watching, just so I know that you're there. Yeah, come on, guys. I don't know. It is what it is. Thank you for the follow, Miss Chen 1993. How are you doing? Hope you're well today. Yeah. Any plans for Christmas, everybody? Anyone been doing Christmas shopping? Maybe we'll talk about that or something. I don't even really do any Christmas shopping, to be honest. I don't really have a lot of people to shop for, so yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you? I suppose that's kind of like one of the benefits of not having a load of friends and stuff. You can just kind of get away with not having to like do much for Christmas. It's like some people have like tons of people to buy stuff for, like 10 friends to buy stuff for, a whole bunch of family to buy stuff for. It's just a lot of stress and just, is it really worth it all? I don't know. People all just trying to, go around just like especially in places where it gets really busy, and then you're just trying to all just get through the city or whatever, and you should see it on like Black Friday here. It's absolutely manic. How did you celebrate Christmas? I would go to like see family. So yeah, that's what we tend to do really. Just have like a family meal. Anyway. Okay, thank you. Yeah, is everybody all right today then? Hope everyone's doing well. Like the live, everybody, if you can. Yeah. I'm from the UK, so I'm guessing you're from the Philippines, right? How is life over there then? Is it life good over there? There are 8 people apparently now. Welcome in, everybody. Hello, Elise from Belgium. How you doing? You all right? Yeah, Belgium. How's the weather like over there? Hope it's going well at the moment. The Belgium flag's kind of like almost like the German flag, isn't it? Oh, it's like if you tilt the German flag, you get the Belgian flag, isn't it? It's cold in winter, yeah, but yeah, it's been a bit snowy at the moment, but I don't think it's snowing now. Hang on a sec. If it's snowing right now, let's have a look. Yeah, there's a little bit. Started again, I think. It might be like sleet or something, but yeah. Might be like kind of sleety stuff at the moment, but yeah, it's just I mean, look at that. You can see that it's been snowing, so you can see it on there as well. Look at that, guys. Snow. Yeah, that's correct. Right, yeah. So is it like based off the German flag or something? Because they're quite close to each other, right? Doesn't it? The borders Germany, right? So yeah. So what language do you speak? Because I've heard of like some speak Flemish, which I've heard is kind of similar to Dutch or something. Maybe we'll start snowing quick here. Well, we'll see, won't we? But yeah. I remember there was a racetrack. I can't remember the name of it, but there was a racetrack in Belgium because there was a game that I had with it. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember the name, but let's just go and find it. Racing track, Belgium. Hello, Josian. How you doing? I hope you well. Dutch, Flanders. All right, it's a Flanders, isn't it? Yeah, I guess that's how you pronounce it over there. Hi, Aki. You all right? Let me find what the racing track is. Circuit of Spa. That might be the one. Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, it might be Spa. Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, I think it's Spa. Yeah, that's the one in one in Belgium. It was on some racing game that I had. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that. I think it might have been Need for Speed Shift or something, but I could be wrong. I think it was. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well today anyway. Welcome to my live. Share this out if you can. Yeah, so what does everybody want to talk about then? Yeah, if you're new here, people, please give me a follow. All right. It's yeah, slow chat. So I was trying out, like, seeing if I could use my, like, tether my laptop, and it was successful. So I'm flying to Las Vegas for F1 on Friday. All right. Okay. Oh, cool. Have you ever been to Spa then, in Belgium? There's a racetrack in Belgium. Hello, Olivia. You're right. All right. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well today. And I'll keep repeating myself, but I don't know what else to say at this point, really. Hello, Casitio. How you doing? You all right? I'm just streaming on 2 platforms at the moment. So yeah, it's just been a bit snowing. I don't know if it's still snowing at all. I'm gonna have a look and see, but yeah, I don't think it's really doing much. But yeah, it's been. I'll just show you guys. I mean, I don't know if you guys on YouTube can see it, but it has been snowing a little bit. I think it's stopped now. It's probably like warmed up a little bit. So, I don't know if you guys can you see it. It's on the window. There's some glare there, but there is some there. Hello, Alondra. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Try and just get this up, and so you can try and show you the snow on the window. But it's hard to see with the glaring sun in there. But yeah, there is snow there. You have to just take my word for it, really. But yeah, but yeah, it's been a bit snowing. But it's not stuck though. Really, it's just been sticking under the windows. That's all. There's nothing on the path really. It's just been wet, so it's not like stuck. Yeah. Anyway, the weather is interfering with internet. Try to send a gift. We'll keep on trying. Okay. Yeah, maybe that's messing it up a bit or something. Ugh, oh goodness. So maybe that's why it's just been slow and shit, really. Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Yeah, you don't get snow in Florida, do you? But apparently, one year, actually, apparently in what was it? Early this year, they had it in New Orleans, of all places. Well, they've had it in Florida as well at some point, but they had it in New Orleans, which is just weird. Like they shouldn't really be getting snow like blizzards there. So some people are saying there's like this geoengineering stuff going on, and they're messing with the weather. And yeah, hello, Moose. Oh, really? Well, okay. Well, that's like your opinion. Hi, Jose. Good morning to you. How are you doing? Hope you well. Okay. Well, if you don't like it, just move on. You don't have to be here. Just get on with your day. Last year they had it in Tallahassee, Florida. Yeah, that's like in the northern part of Florida, isn't it? Well, you follow me for a long time. I don't get invites from you when you go on live. Well, that's a bit of a shame. Yeah, it's just TikTok's been a bit I don't know. To be fair, I've not really been going live on TikTok for a while, so I've been kind of trying to get back into it again. But yeah, just gonna like try and get back into it all again. Oh, really? Well, that's like your opinion. Just maybe just mind your own business. Then not sure about that. This one is a pressure system from North Sea. All right. I don't know, but there's been some like weird weather that we've been getting. Like some of it seems a bit strange. I thought so. Didn't see you in a while, right? Some of the weather that we've been getting, like I'm talking in general, seems to be weird. And some people will try and blame it on global warming and stuff, but I think that there's something else going on with it. Really, that might sound a little bit conspiratorial, but they've admitted to doing like cloud seeding and not just cloud seeding, but also like there's things out there like things such as doing stuff in like the stratosphere and all that, and messing around with like weather systems and things like that. Hello, oh, Rekka, fuck off. You need to just fucking piss off. Fucking Accutane, fuck off. Fucking prick. Alright, I'm just gonna get rid of this person. What is wrong with these people, eh? Hello, Shulagat, how you doing? Do these people have nothing better to fucking do? It's just lame. Is I just, I mean, sometimes I get a bit pissed off with it, but yeah. I don't know, it was just somebody on TikTok just being a fucking dick. It's like, what are these people even doing with their life, Maybe because they're projecting their own insecurities or something. It's just sad. Why don't you just get a life, for fuck's sake? Okay, see you later, Elise. Hi, Ewan. I don't know. You're always going to get these kind of people, aren't you, Well, isn't Accutane for like acne? I don't even really get acne anymore. You can see, like, I don't really. It's just I got these acne scars, and I'd have to like do some kind of like a bit invasive kind of stuff to get rid of that. And I'm kind of like, I don't really want to have to. Otherwise, I'd be on fucking some shit for the rest of my life. I can't be asked. I don't know. It's just kind of tough, really. But I don't know. I was thinking about doing something about the scars, but I don't know. That's probably because people have been putting stuff in my head about it. Like people sort of like trying to say, "Oh, you need to do this if you're acne scars or something." So it starts making me feel like inferior or something. But before they said that, I wasn't feeling bad about it really. Hello, Ewol Olivia. Hang on a second. It wasn't this that troll or something. It's got a bunch of trolls online and stuff, but I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just can't be bothered with any like BS. Um, okay. Are you on about the what spirulina got to do with it? I don't know how that would help really, but you gotta be careful with spirulina actually, because apparently if you take it at the same time as taking B12, that can actually interfere with it. So you just got to be careful with that, really, because it can block true B12 from being absorbed. Apparently, scars around neck and shoulders. Why? Um, yeah, it's high in college and about the scars or something. They got scars from love bites or something. Yeah, B12 is there's not actually real B12 in spirulina apparently, or at least there's mostly analogs, which the body sees it as B12, but then it can actually block B12 or something. Age 20 to 22. Okay. Well, here, like most people would finish college about 18. They would then go on to university. I was like, Caitlin, how are you doing? Not seen you for a while. How's things? Have you had any snow today? It's just been a bit snowy at the moment, but it's stopped now, I think. Yeah. Yeah, it's been snowing here and going good. How's you? Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Just I'm planning to film the busking stuff soon, hopefully. Just been trying to figure out how I'm gonna do that, but yeah. But yeah, how's life? Yeah, hope everything's going well. Just hormonal acne was pretty quick, went then gone. All right, you mean like it was that kind of age where like they were still going through puberty and then like it kind of stopped. Yeah, I tried like well the mobile data thing I actually figured it out and I got it to work on my laptop. So I tethered my phone to my laptop and actually got a connection surprisingly. So I've managed to sort that out now. Sounds like it's raining now, so yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So hopefully I can start doing that soon. It's just the weather at the moment; it's just rough. So have you got snow in Leeds? It's York where I live. They usually get it more in Leeds actually, but since I've been in York, I mean, so I used to live in Blackburn, but we don't seem to get as much snow over here. I've had times where we've had about 6+ inches of snow. Like it's been mad. Like one year, it literally started drifting like up against the door, and it was like, yeah, cheap housing. Not really. The houses are you being sarcastic or something? The houses are expensive. A lot of them in York. Actually, where I live, it's not too bad. If you're in the center, it gets really bad. Like maybe compared to London, but like compared to like other parts of the north, New York is expensive. Like if you live in the center of York, you can be looking at like a fucking yeah, I know, but I guess you get paid more, so like it's one of those things. Whereas up north, you probably get paid less, so it's all relative, really, isn't it? Hello, lavishly fat, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, like where I used to live, you could get a house for about 80K or even less. You don't get paid more. Well, where do you live then? I mean, I don't know, like, because no one's going to be able to like afford a £2,000 place or Brighton. Okay, I guess it depends. I was thinking like London or something, and like people, spending like 2,000 plus on a rent or for like a one fucking bedroom place. And they must be on about 6K a month or something at least. Yeah, it's like to like the east of like kind of, it's like near Preston and all that. It's all like between Preston and Burnley kind of area. Even in London, only jobs that pay well is white collar jobs, I suppose. Yeah. A lot of people commute, don't they? They have to commute for like from like the outskirts where it's a bit cheaper, because otherwise they wouldn't be able to afford it. Yeah, like well, someone was saying that like the UK isn't a rich country; it's just a poor country with a rich capital, and that isn't even really true either, is it? Like you said, it's only certain jobs, but yeah, a carpenter gets paid relatively the same everywhere in the country. Yeah, that's not good, is it? Like, I would have thought that like people would get paid more doing that, because if they're people are, I don't know, it's one of those things. It's just you get all these toffs, don't you, who live around there, and then that in, the tourists and stuff, and it just bumps up the costs and stuff. There's still a north and south divide, right? So what you're saying that like someone up north who could be like earning far less could be far better off. But that's a lot of times people only live there because they've got family or something, really. But it's like a teacher, would they earn more down there, or would it be similar down there? Because I remember there was like all these teacher strikes and stuff, and like, but because I was thinking, well, teachers get paid a pretty decent amount. Like if they're, so I remember like this was many years ago where they were talking about a starting salary of 34K a year, which back then was actually a pretty good wage. Nowadays it'd be like probably 50 grand plus. But like, yeah, up north that is a really good wage. But down south that would be like shit. Because if you live, especially if you're living by yourself and you're on like 2,000 or whatever. But to be fair, I did see some statistic that 49% of people who are earning 70K a year are living paycheck to paycheck. The thing is, for a 3-bed house that here it's about 400 to 500. 400 to 500. What, a month? What do you mean? Well, that's good, isn't it? For a three-bed house. You said three. Or I thought you meant. Hang on, I was thinking rent. Oh, you mean like 400 to 500,000? Yeah, that's expensive. You could get a 3-bed house here for like 200, 250K or something. Maybe even less. Depending on where you are, you could get a 3-bed house for 100K. So it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. But some of it will be like more crime in some areas. Like in like Sarah, how you doing? In say like Blackburn, it's like, yeah, like a 2-bedroom terraced house, like 80 to 100K, something like that. A 3-bedroom house is probably, sometimes you might even get one for like 100 to 150,000, or even less in some cases. Maybe someone that needs work doing, like a 3-bed house for like 70K or 80K or something. It's just yeah. So it comes down to like if you want to get somewhere that needs a bit of work doing or whatever. But it's like if it costs so much, then why are so many people living in London? Why don't they just all leave? But I suppose it's not really possible. So you get these people like Ben Shapiro that are saying, "Oh, well, just move. If it's too expensive where you live, just move." But it's not always possible, is it? Like they need to have something to move to, don't they? They need a job to actually go to, or something, or a business, or whatever it might be. But for some people, it can be good to live in like London. Like if you are a high professional or something, there's better networking opportunities if you're a business owner or something like that. Because if there's more money, then there's more opportunities, sort of thing. It's just one of those things that like it's like you get people like moving to Dubai, but it's like even more expensive over there, isn't it? Like costs are ridiculous over there. So some people end up moving somewhere like Bangkok, let's say, which some people have like say there's good opportunities over there, but there's also downsides as well. But it's crazy. And then say like Thailand, you can get like a like a condo with a all inclusive, like with a swimming pool or something, and what have you for like 500 quid a month, or if not less. Like some of these might have some shared facilities on it and stuff, and you know what I mean. It's just like crazy, isn't it? It's like the cost of living over there is like so much less because of the GDP and all that. But yeah, it's just some people are saying that people should just stay here and just try to fight the system or whatever. But it's like a lot of people think, well, what's the point? I might as well just enjoy my life and just. Yeah, but I don't know what your thoughts are on all that. Because some people believe that it's just too far gone, that the system is just completely broken. There's nothing that we can do, and that like I think that the only thing that we can do is just like a revolution or something, and a different kind of system that's more about kind of fairly compensating people for their work and a lot vibrant. Thank you for the likes. How you doing? How are you today? Yeah, I wish it was cheaper to live and we'd get more money for the jobs. Yeah, I know. But you got these greedy landlords and stuff, don't you, that are making it hard. Rita, you okay? Welcome in here. How you doing? Nice to meet you. If you're new here, please follow. Hello, Princess. How you doing? You all right? Welcome in. Like, I just feel like they're just getting greedy, a lot of them. Like, these landlords are just taking the piss. I understand they need to make money as well, but I just find that sometimes they get a bit greedy with things, and they just yeah, they're just taking the piss, really. Here we go. I think there's the reason why I kind of came off TikTok, was just all these annoying troll comments and stuff. I don't know, guys, but I hope everyone's well today. I found single rooms here to rent for £650 per month. Yeah, that is ridiculous, isn't it? Really, just a single room, like. It's like, so you're saying that the wages are not even any higher than they are in other parts of the country, like the north or something. My mum's a landlord. She moves prices based on the cost around and what she owes on the places. All right. Yeah. What are you saying? Like, what's that? Let's just read that again. So it says, my mum's a landlord. She moves prices based on the cost around and what she owes on the places. Yeah, I think that's fair. But some people just take the piss and just, yeah. But the thing is, the system is just so like messed up where it's like a lot of times people end up having to buy a car so that they can work to pay off the car, to pay off, and they need to pay off a house that they barely even live in a lot of the time because they're spending so much time working and getting to work. But you see how kind of fucked up it all is. Like half of their bills are on friggin' their house and their car. In fact, sometimes even most of their bills are on that. Let's say, they might have to pay like, let's say, £650 a month or whatever it is, and then another few £100 a month on the car. You know, it's like they're probably spending over £1,000 a month already. Not even, include any food or anything like that. So I was saying, like, how is someone supposed to like live on like a minimum wage in the UK? A lot of times that just isn't going to cut it, especially if they've got like a family and stuff like that. So you get people like Ben Shapiro who'll tell people like, oh, if you can't afford it, you need to move somewhere else. Well, that isn't always possible though, is it? Yeah. Housing/shelter is definitely most expensive outgoing. Yeah, and it shouldn't be, should it? It shouldn't be so expensive. It shouldn't be so expensive, should it, when you're like, you know what I mean? It's like I understand obviously it takes a lot to build a house and all that, but they were saying how it can take like maybe a few weeks to build a house, but then it takes, I don't know how long does it take to build a house? I mean, I understand that obviously there's a lot of labor involved and stuff, but I find that sometimes they take the piss with these things. Food is about 35 to £50 a week. It depends, doesn't it? Like I can eat more than that in food. I guess it depends on your size as well. It depends really, but yeah. I mean, if I was really trying to like cut down on my spending, I could get it down to that. But it depends if you ever go out for meals and stuff. Because sometimes people don't have time to be cooking meals either, right? So they might end up spending a few £100 or whatever. Shelter's way over leveraged. You can get a CIP frame house up in 8 to 12 weeks in summer. Yeah. Construction industry panel CIP. So I was talking about, because people talk about there needs to be less restrictions on building houses and stuff. Long time no see. Hello, one Jack Paul. How you doing? I hope you're well today. Thank you for joining me today, everybody. Make sure you follow me if you're new here. Hello, J1. How you doing? But I think the best solution would be, instead of focusing on, we need to like get rid of these regulations and stuff, but it's like we need to look at filling empty buildings, right? I don't care what anybody says about, oh, but they own those buildings. Or, well, if you're not using that frigging building for anything, then you're just taking the piss, aren't you? I don't give a fuck. There's people that need housing, and all they're doing is just like, they are literally like causing housing to become more scarce, artificially increasing the price on the housing. Like, I think there needs to be something done where they have to house it with somebody. It's just taking the piss if you're just buying a house as some fucking financial investment. It's meant to be a place to live or a place to do business or something. It's not meant to be for, just financially speculate and hope that it's going to go up in value. It's not like one of those assets like a bit of gold or something where you just buy it and hope that it's going to go up in price. Like, housing shouldn't be seen that way. But these people just buy them up and just hoard them and not have anybody living in there. And I just think it's wrong. I think you should only be able to buy one if someone's actually going to live in it. I don't think we should be able to buy like holiday homes and shit like that. I don't know. So I think that's just taking the piss. Like, someone else needs to live in that place. And then we wouldn't need to build so many houses. Why should we have to keep building more houses? That's, building into greenbelt land or something, a lot of more former retail spaces need repurposing. Yeah, no, like they need to be done. Needs to be done something with it, right? Rentier society. What do you mean? Although Angie, you're on about everyone's just all renting and stuff. Land does go up, but the housing market might be crashing soon. I think. Yeah, rent collection economy. Yeah, basically, you'll own nothing and be happy and all that. I think we can learn Islam. You buy a house, no interest on the home. What do you mean? What's that got to do with Islam? I don't know, but I'm not a religious person or anything. So, but basically, it's a debt based society is what we're in, isn't it? Right? They're just you're in debt to somebody for the most part. Either you're in debt to the banks or you're in debt to, like lenders or whatever. Like if you're buying, let's say, like a car, you're in debt to you get a loan for that or something. And sorry, I can't help you. You pay no interest, you just pay for a house. What are you saying? How are you supposed to do that then? Because if someone's lending you money, unless you can afford to pay for the house outright, in Islamic law you can't be charged interest. All right. Okay, I've just been hearing about this Sharia law thing, and I don't know, some people are quite concerned about some of the aspects of it. Is that anything to do with Sharia law, or is that something different? Because I've heard about people, concerned about Sharia law in this country, and that might get pushed. But they get around it in other ways, fees on an agreement. Yeah, there's always ways around things, isn't there? But like I said, like everything's a scam in society. It's just so yeah, like it's like, for example, in America, they're expected to like pay a bunch of friggin' tax to then send to Israel so that they can fund, like atrocities. Usury is founded in Judaism. Yeah, like I mean, we're just getting onto the whole thing about Israel and all that kind of stuff, and it's really fucked up, isn't it? And that doesn't mean that I'm anti-Semitic or anything, because that's the thing that they try to do. It's like that's what Ben Shapiro was doing to like his detractors or whatever you call it, people who were like, basically against his ideologies or whatever, because they all want to kind of think that that they have a right to what is it called, like a homeland or something. So they want to try and like impose on, like it's to I actually, this is my conspiracy theory stuff, right? That I think that the whole, what is it called? What's the word for it? The thing in Palestine is that like a controlled opposition. Yeah, they were saying about in America about 50% mortgages. I was thinking the 50-year mortgage, the thing that Donald Trump was going on about. But 50% mortgages, that's crazy, isn't it? Like, so if your house costs like, $500,000 or something, then yeah. Jesus overturned the tables of money lenders for a reason. Okay. So what are you then, a Christian or something, or no? Sharia law is different, but it's not really welcome in the UK from my point of view. Yeah, I've been hearing about that. He's covering for the Epstein files. Who's that? You're talking Trump. But yeah, Trump, like, I've heard he's meant to be in the Epstein files, isn't he? There was this thing with like Elon Musk or something, but so I was going to talk about like this thing about in Gaza or whatever, the not that whole kind of what's it called? That their like government or whatever, but they were saying that Netanyahu is like funding it or something. That's what some people are saying. So that means it's all like a controlled opposition thing, like a controlled, like like a illusion of there being these two sides, but really it's all playing off each other, and that's what I'm kind of thinking might be happening. Create order out of chaos or something. I don't know. That's my kind of like thoughts on it. What if it's all just a complete like smoke and mirrors kind of thing that they're doing to kind of divide up everybody? And what was it called? I'm trying to remember what it was called. But yeah, did you hear about the Trump and Bill Clinton thing? It was such a joke. Or I don't know about that one. I don't really keep up to date with a lot of this kind of stuff because I just find it all a bit of a distraction. Like sometimes I just hear bits of things. Oh yeah, Hamas, that's the one. Yeah, Hamas is the like some people are saying that it's like a controlled opposition, and it's just like a kind of because I've heard that Hamas is just as bad, and they're all just like there's a lot of like in my opinion there's a lot of like war crimes going on, and on both sides are not innocent. Like when innocent people are getting destroyed, then I'm like I can't support that. But they just see it as collateral damage or something, which is effed up, really, isn't it? I'm not religion. It's good deal. You buy a car for 50,000, that's all you pay back. Well, they were saying like that they might have ways around that though, about like fees and things like that. So we have to look at sort of yeah. Anyway, Trump gave Bill a BJ. Oh really? Oh god. Yeah. But like 50-year mortgages, that's ridiculous, isn't it? Because you'll never see the end of it. Like they just want to keep you in debt for life, I think, is what they're trying to do. Yeah, that's the thing. It's just it's all just about you know the rich and all that, and uh, but even a lot of like Trump supporters have like turned on him now. They're saying that he's like even what is it? People like Tucker Carlson and all these other people that are like they were like promoting him for a while, weren't they? But that and they're now saying that he's not necessarily like all he's cracked up to be, and he's like a lot of people just kind of they'll pay a lip service to certain things. It's like we've got Nigel Farage here, right? He'll pay a lip service and be like act like he cares about your ordinary British people, but really they don't. All they're trying to do is just use that as a way to gain power, and it's just pathetic. But some people can see it, but a lot of people are just unfortunately they're hoodwinked by it all, and they think that he's some savior or something. Game of politics, unfortunately. Yeah, they have you think they're like savior that they're saviors when really they're just paying lip service and not actually they wouldn't actually do any real changes. Like on the left, you've got the people who think that say like the Green Party would be good, but I think that they're again just another one that's like not to be trusted. Reform will win, unfortunately. Hmm. Yeah, I just think that yeah, it's not gonna really. I just have no faith in politics whatsoever. So I wouldn't vote for any of these parties because I just don't believe in it. Like if I could, I'd start my own movement. That's all I want to do at some point. If I can get enough influence, I'd start my own movement, and we'd have a completely different system than what we have right now. Reform said that they would not destroy the NHS. A video came out where he says he will. That's typical, isn't it? It's like, isn't it now where like Trump is saying that he will release the Epstein files, but he was saying for ages that he wouldn't do it. But now it's like he's got a lot of pressure to do it. So now he's like, because there's a lot of scrutiny on Trump because they're like thinking, well, why you? It's like he's trying to keep it a secret or something. It's like the more that you try and hide something, the more sus it becomes then, doesn't it? Because it's like, well, what are you trying to hide? You know? And it's like, oh, it's a Democrat hoax. The Epstein files is a Democratic hoax. Oh God. Yeah. Oh, you're just ungrateful. Who's it ungrateful? Sorry. The bank, the corporate interest, and the people linked to manage in it all. Yeah, what's it? My analogy is we are in a game of Monopoly, and the bank owns everything and keeping the game going. Yeah, that's it. It's the central bank to the problem here, isn't it? Like we need to get rid of the collateral damage and chaos periods. Yeah, it's what we call it Hegelian dialectic. Have you ever heard of that before? Problem, reaction, solution. So what happens is a politician will create a problem, but they already have a manufactured solution to that problem. Because what happens is they create this problem to then create a reaction to that problem, but they already have it's like a reverse engineered thing that they do where they start off with the solution. So, for example, if they want to sort of like bring in a certain mandate, like they tried to do all the stuff with like a certain injection that they made that a bunch of people start taking, right? But they need to manufacture a reaction. They need to have people panic. So they need so they need to have the problem to that. So it's like a reverse engineered sort of strategy, basically. So yeah, but yeah, this whole it's just crazy all this stuff like with all the Epstein files and all that, and yeah, be interesting to see how that all gets played out. Like who gets, you know, who gets exposed or whatever. But then it's like it's just another one of those things where it just keeps getting dragged out. Well, this planet gives us water, trees to build houses and food, but we have to pay for it. Yeah, it's insane, isn't it? Right? It's like apparently there's this island, right, called what is it called? Tacopia or something, I think it's called. And this is a perfect example of that. It's some tropical island, and they literally grow all their own food on there completely for free. They live a pretty chill life over there. It'd be pretty cool to live over there. Perfect weather, just food growing in abundance. Of course, there's certain places where food can be a bit harder to grow, like in the UK and but even then, like you can grow foods in winter, like things like potatoes and stuff like that. You can grow them in abundance. So there's no like reason why we shouldn't have, basically like infinite access to food. It's like we should have that, for free. But then they're like, oh no, it's like whatever. They try and kind of make you think that you're being entitled if you think that, Ginge. But it's like before all these corporations came in and then tried to like monetize all this stuff, then we had all this stuff for free, right? We had all the food that we could ever need and more. So it's crazy, isn't it? And to trees to build a house, yeah, we just have like even if we just had a wooden cabin or something like that, right? We could just live in that. But in this system, it's like the one is all dependent. So then we start to become more civilized. But then becoming more civilized then meant becoming more enslaved into the system. Maybe things were better before we became civilized. How about that? Now, of course, like I'm on the internet now, and there is benefits to the internet, but it's like we shouldn't be relying on that. We shouldn't be relying on the system to provide everything for you, because then you become dependent, and then you become a slave. Everything is a system, and this system, capitalism, I believe, is on the edge of destruction. So what do you think will replace it? Because I don't think that socialism or communism is the answer, personally, but I think the answer is probably more along the lines of like kind of like trading with each other and just kind of like more like bartering, I would say. But I think that is a more kind of would be a more fair system of like Islam probably will. What's that? I mean, some people are saying that like yeah, like I said, with this whole Sharia law and all that, and they're concerned about that. But I mean, I'm not a religious person, and a lot of people are not religious, so it's like, how can we have a law dictated by a religion that people don't believe in? We need to hold the 1% accountable, but how are we going to do that, do you think? Because unless we all come together and be like, some people say that it's not capitalism itself, but the way that it's being done with things like lobbying and stuff like that. Some call it crony capitalism, where it's like a kind of, or stop buying, I guess, would be like a thing, but it's like some argue that capitalism in of itself is not corrupt, but it's the extremes of it or something, and also the government subsidies and all the bullshit. Some argue that actually that makes it worse. Like TCHR Jace, thank you for the likes. How you doing? Make sure you follow if you're new here. Yes, like is it Protestant based capitalism? I don't know what's that about. Again, like, shouldn't it be secular? I don't know. And it's because not everyone's gonna fall in line with a certain religion. So shouldn't it have to be like secular, whatever the thing is? Because otherwise, you're kind of like they're imposing religion on you, which then is yeah. What about iPhone 12? Well, there's an iPhone 17 now, isn't there? It's getting ridiculous. All these new iPhones that keep coming out, and I do agree. I think that we don't need all this stuff. It's just pointless. And there is some people that are starting to rebel against like consumerism, but unfortunately, it's just not happening enough. So many people still buying into like consumerism and all that, but it's like there's more and more like atheism now and like non-religious people. So I can't see how like how are we supposed to have religion take over again? Because like I said, it's just a religions is a very kind of, you know what I mean? It's not something that a lot of people believe in anymore because of just the lack of evidence really, and none of it really makes any sense. But I don't know. Maybe it's like they just take some of the morality and things from it, but not the actual religion itself or something. Is that what you mean? Where did capitalism and democracy originate? I don't know, but we don't even have we don't even really have proper capitalism and democracy. Yet we support Israel, right? Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I was looking at like UK, so does because I was looking to see if UK supports Israel, but then I saw that they support Palestine or something. Hello, Anna. How you doing? Religion is for me the worst system. Well, it's just going to be very divisive, isn't it? And well, everything's divisive, but as long as they're not trying to like impose religion on people, I mean, I have no problem with it. But it's just, but it requires faith in order to like kind of. But I mean, I know everyone's going to have their own beliefs and stuff, and I respect that. But it's just, yeah, it's crazy because a lot of people, when you ask them what evidence they have, they just say, "Oh, it's just faith or something." The UK never supported Palestine. I was just looking, but like about it all, but I kind of just think that like whether they do or not, it's like sunk cost fallacy. That's our relationship with Israel. I think a lot of it's lobbying and stuff like that. I think is what's going on because the government just they're greedy and they'll just kind of take bribes and stuff, regardless of whether it's a net benefit to us or not. So let's say, does UK support Israel? I guess it depends on which side, whether it's which side. But the thing is like, it says here, no public support for Israel. Misinformation. The company's product. Well, sometimes this could be like a deceptive. But like I said, the whole thing of Palestine. What if that's all a controlled opposition and it's just, like I said, Hamas? Some people are saying that Hamas is a controlled opposition and that Netanyahu is actually backing it. That's what I've heard anyway. That Netanyahu is backing Hamas. So it could all just be a divide and conquer ploy by the ruling class to get basically just create chaos, order out of chaos kind of thing. I don't know. That might sound like some conspiracy theories, but stranger things have happened at sea. So, yeah. But according to this, there's no public funding for Israel. But in order to exist, Israel needs enemies. Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, because otherwise there wouldn't be anyone supporting Israel. So it's almost like a way of, we've got these enemies. We've got enemies in Palestine. We need more of your money. And it's all just to basically line their fucking pockets, you know? But then if you actually say this, then you'd be called an anti-Semite. It's not about being against anyone from those countries. In fact, the word Semite itself actually means, like, if you're from a Semitic country, like, say, most of the people are Arabs. So by definition, that would mean that you're also against people from Arabia, which is kind of ironic, isn't it? Because Palestinians are like kind of Arab sort of thing, aren't they? So it's like, it kind of just contradicts itself, doesn't it? When people, use these words, it's like they have no clue what they're even talking about. But yeah, it's like they just kind of, like it's like the whole thing of needing an enemy. It's like a superhero needs a villain, don't they? Right? That makes them relevant, doesn't it? Like when, say, like like Superman or whatever, and they're fighting against their enemy or whatever, and it's like, but Superman wouldn't even be relevant without that enemy there. He wouldn't be a superhero because, yeah, it'd just be a guy with a bunch of powers, basically. But to be a superhero, you need to be heroic, right? I don't care. Israel is into Palestine. What happened to them? What you mean? Well, I just think they're kind of fucked, and there's shit going on both sides. And this is what they want. They want to like divide everyone. It's all yeah, but it's like, but they're bad on both sides, is what I'm saying, and I think it's all an illusion. It's all smoke and mirrors, I think. The whole Hamas thing, it's yeah, it's all a fake opposition, I think. But I don't know. I could be wrong with that. But hello, Falcon. How you doing? To be a hero, you need to fight the evil. Yeah. So if there's no enemy, then there's no hero. Then is there? Kind of thing. Some people say this. It means there has to be some kind of duality in the world. There has to be evil in order for there to be good. Hello, Shiri. How you doing? You all right? Welcome in here. If anybody's new here, please subscribe to the channel. That would be really appreciated. So yeah, just keep the chat flowing, everybody. I'm going to be on for like a few more minutes, I think, but yeah, they're just trying to keep everyone from like kind of coming together. And what is evil? Not in a religious sense. Well, I think it's about the intention of the person, really. It comes down to the intention. Is a lot it comes down to is in benevolence and malevolence sort of thing. It's like if you intend to do something that's like is bad, then that's evil. Whereas if you're doing something is good, or at least you think is good, even if like for example, someone could be good, but like they could do something bad, but they just kind of they had an idea they thought were good in their head, but then when it came to like executing it, it didn't really pan out the way that they thought it was going to. I think dualistic thinking is the foundation for the background ideology, as in double thinking standards. Yeah. What defines good? I mean, I guess like in terms of like what do we think is going to be best for others and not just yourself? Like it's like not being completely selfish in your actions and trying to think about doing what could be best for more people. What's the best, decision that anyway. But yeah, dualistic thinking, what we're saying about like that people could like use that as an excuse for like bad things that happen. I do think that is not really an excuse for like evil and stuff, but because I think that the amount of evil that we see is just unnecessary, and I just think that's like for example, when people are suffering their whole life, like for example, you hear these crazy stories of like someone getting locked in their parents' basement or something like that for like decades, and you think to yourself, how is that necessary? Like, I mean, I just don't really, I don't really get that. And people argue that, oh, it's free will. But doesn't that make God just is that egalitarian society? What you mean? Well, egalitarian is about like, it's more about equality, isn't it? And like, I guess what I mean is one person's good is another's evil. Well, I guess it depends on the intention of the person, really. It comes down to like, depending on how you see that action as like affecting people. Like for some people, they might, sort of like see it as like a net positive, like they're doing something for a greater good. They might genuinely think they're doing something good. But then to somebody else, that might seem like, like, what is it? Like kind of, what's the word? Like try to remember the word that they use for it, like a megalomaniac or something. You too, LJ. Thank you. If anyone's new here, please subscribe to the channel. The greatest good to the population. Yeah, I suppose that's right. Yeah, like what's going to be like the best? Because I remember there was this whole thing about, for example, if someone was about to like go and poison the water supply for a village or something, would it be better to like to unalive that person or take the risk of letting them do that? This is the dilemma of like, I mean, the way I see it is that like, well, you'd be for a greater good to like get rid of that person, but then some might say, well, what if they're just threatening or something? But to me, though, the type of person that would do such a thing is probably a person that the world would be better off without. So that's my kind of thoughts on that, really. So even if they didn't actually do it, the fact that they're threatening to do such a thing is a threat as what in of itself, that they might then go on to do bad and just cause problems. So they're probably something that the world would be better off without, you could argue. So yeah, it's one of those things, really, isn't it? That some argue that it's unethical to take someone's life, even if they are threatening to take many more lives. But I don't agree with that. That assumes the leader of a group of leaders deciding what's best for others. Yeah, that's where I think that, like, yeah, like, you could argue that that becomes kind of corrupt then or something. My love, how's it going? I hope you're well today. I think the way I see it is that we should be letting others decide what's best for them. Because to me, it suggests that you kind of think that you know better than everybody else. And I think that's quite sort of almost kind of like patronizing on society to kind of to think that you know better than them. So when it comes to like, leading, this is why I'm kind of more of a, you could argue, anarchist in a sense, in that like, who else has a right to tell us what we can and cannot do when they're trying to impose their will onto others? That it's up to us to decide what's best for us, really, I think, instead of letting some big government or whatever decide that for us. So I think that's inherently corrupt. And even if they had good intentions, I still think that it's not necessarily good to let that happen. And yeah, you forgot psychology and psychiatry. What about it? What's that got to do with like the system and things like that, and whatever we're talking about? So what's the difference between psychology and psychiatry then? Because it's like someone would go to like a psychiatrist or something, and then to be good or bad. I mean, there is like obviously like a sort of, you could argue there's a genetic component or whatever, or like an environmental component to it or whatever, but like some people are just born evil, I guess, and those are people that, I don't know. Some argue that they shouldn't be here, but then some argue that that is wrong. But there's like people out there who do really bad crimes, and there's this argument about whether we should have a death penalty because there can be a burden on society. I was looking into the amount of money that is wasted every year to house these people. So you think to yourself, like, well, should we be like footing the bill for that, or should we just kind of get rid of them altogether? Or maybe there's another solution where we just put them all on an island somewhere and they just kind of, I don't know. That's what someone was saying. They just all go on an island where they just, you know what I mean? An island like miles and miles away from anywhere. Who should be the person to say whom lives or dies? I think it should come down to like what society wants, really. Because if people are having to pay to like house these people, then maybe they should be the ones to decide that. Because they're like, well, why should we have to house these people? Why should we have to put them in prison? Because most of the time they'll never actually get any better. Society can't be trusted. Well, I think society is probably more trustworthy than a government. But I don't know. It depends on like education and stuff like that. And I guess education needs to be better. And because this was doing, we're talking with someone about democracy, that they were saying that democracy could work with a better education. And I think the problem is when people believe too much what they see on TV and whatever, and the media and whatever, that they don't have an informed opinion on things, really, or disinformed opinion they have sometimes. But it's just I don't really agree with like people having to like pay to house these people. Really, you know that they've literally like done the bad things and whatever. Why should society have to suffer because of that? It's not right, is it? When you think about it, it's like that society has to pay to house murderers and all sorts of other horrible criminals. I don't know. Maybe it should just be the rich people that fund that, because to me, they're all probably just a bunch of criminals themselves. So maybe that's how it should work. Maybe the people who do crimes should be the ones to pay for the criminals. Maybe that's how it should work. That they pay taxes to basically fund that. So maybe that's how it could work. I mean, I wouldn't want to unalive anybody, that's for sure. But maybe that's the better way. Maybe if like maybe the people who've done crimes, they're the ones that have to like foot the bill of those people or something. So when someone's like fucking like scammed people or whatever, and then they get caught and whatever, and then they end up like going to prison, then they have to then be the ones to like so when they come out of prison, and they have to then pay money to then sort of fund other people to be put in prison or something. Maybe that's how it could be dealt with. I don't know. That's one solution, I guess. Because I don't think that the law-abiding people should have to pay for that. Yeah, that happens in America. I thought it was like the government that pays for like, I thought it was like the government or whatever, or not the government. I mean the prison guards and whatever. All these people work in the prisons that do all that shit. I mean, that sounds like some twisted Sharia law shit. If you ask me, what's that? I'm about 6'4". Why? What are you talking about? What I'm talking about? Like what? I mean, I think that if we had a system where we had like people who've done crime pay for other people to be like put in prison or something, instead of like law-abiding citizens having to like pay for that, because I don't think that's right. Why should people have to like foot the bill of that, you know? Maybe that's how it should go, right? Maybe that's how they should like, one of the ways that they can be penalized for it is by having to pay for. So if someone's done a crime, they then sort of are the ones to pay for it, not the law-abiding citizens. So indefinite servitude for anyone who's ever been incarcerated. I mean, like, if you've done a crime, especially a bad crime, then I think that you should probably be like responsible for it for the rest of your life in some way. Don't believe people can have a second chance. So what do you think that like should happen then? I mean, maybe there's certain elements of Sharia law that are good then, I don't know, but maybe there's some things that are bad as well. Someone I know has just been locked up for the rest of their sad little life. Yeah. Well, you do believe, all right. But it's like, it comes down to like, I don't think it's right that your ordinary people are having to foot the bill of the to actually pay for. Now you could argue that per person it's not that bad or something, but I don't know. It's probably not going to really make that big of a difference on like an individual level or something. You could argue that that's not really. I don't know. I do see it as a bit of a burden, and I don't know. Hello, Muffin Seaman. How you doing? Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. How are you? But you pay? Yeah, no. I guess that's probably a more kind of bigger issue that like paying for like friggin' Israel or some shit. I've pretty much been about the same. Why? I've gained quite a bit of muscle since then, so I don't know why you're asking these like personal questions and shit, really. But anyway, I'm still on. I've just been kind of debating on this whole kind of thing on like people who like are incarcerated, should they be given a second chance or something? And yeah, it's all right now. It's like yeah. Taylor and Marjorie Green. What about that? I think I've heard that name. I'm in criminal law. If people are a threat to others' bodies or property, then they are destined for damage limitations. What do you mean? I don't know. It's just yeah, depends on the crime. I would think. Yeah, but I guess we need to try and focus more on trying to like as a society, we should not be like expected to be like paying for billionaires. It's like certain billionaires are getting grants from like the government. Let's have a look at like either does the UK. Thank you for the heart, me, Gail. How you doing, Gail? I hope you're well. Does the UK government um, um, give? Thank you for the rose jacket grants um, to what is it? Do they give grants to what is it? do they give grants to I think like community service can be a good thing to like, because I guess like that can sort of mean that they give back to billionaires. I would have a look at. Yeah, I was thinking like Elon Musk or something like that, but yeah. Hello, Gail. You're right. Oh, thank you. Person I know has been locked up after being found guilty of interfering with all his granddaughters. Oh God, that's not good, is it? Well, the UK government does not have a specific grant program solely for billionaires. Government funding and policies have been reported to indirectly benefit them through various investment schemes, tax reliefs, and climate aid initiatives. So, why should these people be given tax relief? What about your poor people who never get any kind of tax relief, hardly, or anything like that? I think the only time that like that happened was like back in say like the 2020 thing, you know. I think the idea of criminals paying for the prison system as punishment could only work for white collar crimes. I suppose, but I don't know. Like, I was thinking about having something where only rich people pay for it, but then, like I said, on an individual level, it probably wouldn't really make that big of a difference. I don't know. It was just an idea I thought of, but because I was looking at how much it costs per year, and it's probably only going to come out to like a few quid per person or something like that in total, like in terms of per taxpayer, because there's like tens of millions of taxpayers versus hundreds of millions of pounds that cost to house people who do like bad crimes and stuff like that. So you might be talking like £10 per person or something like that per year. So it's really not going to be that significant, for the average person. Is like kind of, but yeah. So yeah, I get what you're saying, but yeah, but there's things that like tax money is going way more towards like lobbying and different things like that. So it says here about let's say, did it give grants to? Let's have a look at Elon Musk, because I think in America they do, but it says yes, companies owned by Elon Musk, particularly Tesla, have received grants from the UK government, with a significant portion coming from the Department for Transport to increase electric vehicle uptake. It's like, what the fuck? Why should he be given that then? You know, that they are literally funding all this bullshit using taxpayers' money, right? Why does he need all that? The fuck? Like, you look at his net worth, he could easily fund all that, right? So he must be like lobbying it or something. I don't know. Here we go. It says Elon Musk Tesla has received almost £200 million in UK grants. So that's just UK grants. Huh. So anyone who's like kind of decides not to want to take part in this system and doesn't want to like they don't want to contribute all this tax money into this system, they get shamed for that. But yet it's okay that people like Elon Musk take hundreds of millions, and even in America it's like billions that go to him in subsidies. Like, oh, but he's doing something good. It's to help with the electric vehicles. I don't give a fuck. Why should I think the tax loopholes need to be shut. The whole situation we have with billionaires paying no taxes because of loopholes and technicalities. Politicians do not shut them because they are bought. Yeah, exactly. They're all bought and paid for. That's the problem. They could do something about it, I think, if they wanted to. Because we've got British overseas territories where they put a lot of the money, like Bermuda, um, Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands, um, places like that, basically, where they're like they're part of British territory. It's one of those like grey areas. It's not actually part of the UK, but it's considered as a British overseas territory. It's like a sort of, what do they call it? It's like an outpost sort of thing, isn't it? It's like an annex or something. I'm like, yeah. So why isn't like anything being done about this? Because it's like they don't want to, because they're getting lobbied. I think they're getting paid a bunch of handouts to be like, oh, don't close the loopholes, because it will benefit them. Even if they have to pay them quite a bit of money, they still end up like better off. So, because if they had to pay all these taxes, then they're paying billions in tax. You know, it's an absolute joke. So it makes you wonder, like, how much money are these people actually getting in secret, like, lobbying and whatever? They could be getting millions for all we know. Cayman, Virgin Islands, Panama, Malta, Switzerland, Bermuda, Dubai, these places are part of a separate economical system existing outside of democratic systems. Yeah, it's all, yeah, because they don't really like, they're not really part of any, so they're like sovereign, aren't they? Kind of thing, if you will. Like sovereign states. They're not, it's like in Switzerland, they were neutral in the wars, weren't they? They funded both sides. They'll be first trillionaire. Are you talking about Musk? Yeah, Switzerland was neutral in the wars, weren't they? If I'm correct. Wasn't Ireland neutral as well or something? I mean, they're not like a tax haven or anything, but like, if I remember, Ireland was or something. But I could be wrong with that. But I do remember vaguely hearing about that. But Switzerland was neutral, so yeah, these Swiss banks, it's all dodgy shit. They're just like laundering money and whatever. Fuck knows what's going on with all this like dirty money and shit, you know. Anyway, but yeah, they do need to sort it out, and then yeah. But there should definitely not be all this money going to like, what is it, foreign aid? I don't think really should be getting all this money. Like, I don't know. But yeah, some might say, oh, but we need to have like Elon Musk have all this money so they can help, bring about electric cars or some shit. But could he not do that with his own money, right? Like, if he's already got all these billions, then it's like, could he not bring that about by his own money or something? I don't know. It just seems crazy to me, really. But some might argue that, well, he has more capabilities to do it as he earns more and more money or something. I doubt it. There's greed. It's just greed, and yeah. Ireland is also a bit of a tax saving, isn't it? Right. I guess they're kind of like neutral or something, and most. Hello, me see. Foreign aid tends to ease immigration. If people are helped in their own country, they won't tend to emigrate as much. What you're saying, like Elon Musk wouldn't lift a finger to actually help the world, only himself. Yeah. You could argue about that. I was thinking about that if we had less, if it would ease immigration or something. Um, but it's like I'm talking in terms of like depends on where it's going. If you're funding wars and shit like that, that's where I draw the line with like foreign aid and stuff like that, trying to use it to send weapons and stuff like that and helping out in foreign wars that we have nothing to do with. Doesn't that, if anything, perpetuate the wars? I don't know. That's what I would have thought. Ireland is not neutral. They have pact with the UK where we defend Ireland, right? Well, I suppose it's part of British, like what do you call it, British Isles. So they're kind of more loyal to us. But how can they be like a tax haven then or something? Is it just? I don't know like how that can work because Ireland's a different country. So why don't you? What you mean? I mean, I'm not. What you mean? Funding war is different for sure. I meant more food and healthcare aid, I suppose. But I don't know like how much. I don't know like that would help. But like I mean, obviously like those countries are fucked like with say like poverty and stuff. And I think a lot of it is there's a lot of corruption going on. And do you think of like in a lot of these countries, they probably could do a lot better with like food and stuff. But like, I remember there was a lot of like protesting. There was this thing about farmers in like India, I think it was, and there was this whole scandal about these restrictions that they put in it or something to stop them. Ireland isn't a tax haven; it's a tax attractive country, heavily subsidized foreign direct investment, but isn't a tax haven in the sense of Panama, etc. Okay, so I'm like thinking like so is that true? Like about there was this thing about places like India, and I don't know. There could be like some corruption going on in these countries where they need to do better. Maybe the best way to deal with it is to try and basically like I don't know. Maybe there needs to be some kind of like accountability and like sort of making sure these people actually get fed and stuff and these governments or whatever need to be like held accountable. I mean, like because surely that they have enough food to feed them in a lot of cases, but they don't want to do it. I guess these governments probably don't want to like help them out or something. So I'm just saying, is that maybe a better angle to kind of but then again, that could then lead to war if we're not careful. So, but like, I just don't think perpetual foreign aid is necessarily like, because I was thinking, yeah, that is one way of like reducing immigration, but is there other ways of like kind of lessening it without having to constantly just send a bunch of supplies over and whatever? I shouldn't have put it in the same category, but a lot of companies have moved their HQs there to avoid higher taxes, and many Irish are displeased. I hear from my Irish friend. Yeah, I bet. Yeah. So, what do you think is the best solution for, like, say, poorer countries and stuff like that to help them out to try and because a lot of people going about immigration and like to try and stop all that. Now, some say about it's more about trying to kind of to stop like supporting it with things like allowing illegals to stay here with like all these meals and stuff. But at the same time, it's like we have to have some level of compassion, I think, as well. So like a solution where we find some kind of compromise, I guess. I don't know. Some of the issues are tricky to deal with because we can sort of like complain about like, because you get all these immigrants trying to come in here, and you've got people on the streets who are like, okay, you take care. People living on the streets in this country who are not getting housed and stuff like that. Oh, Sarosi, been a while. Um, People not getting prioritized in their own country, and I don't think that is right. So, so I agree with that as well because it's like, as in, like I think that we should be trying to prioritize our own people. But at the same time, I also think that it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, trying to find that balance of. It has, in many ways, destroyed the local culture. What's that? I think Irish people are displeased about how the GDP is overinflated compared to the reality of cost of living, just because Apple or Google file their tax returns there doesn't mean Ireland is rich. Yeah, exactly. It's like London isn't rich just because they've got, like all their HQs. They're like you've got all these big buildings. They're like HSBC, BT, all these different big corporations there in the financial district. That's where most of the wealth is concentrated, which can sort of like skew things. And like we're saying about the cost of living around London area and how it's just overinflated. And yeah, like we shouldn't really kind of judge how well off a city is based or a country is based on GDP or even GDP per capita for that matter, because oftentimes wages do not reflect living conditions. Oh, thank you, Shirozi. Um, One thing foreign investment has caused in Ireland is pressure on the housing market and inflation, and that too. Don't know about foreign investment destroying Irish culture, though. Right. Thank you for the roses, Rosie. Yeah, some argue that we should be trying to kind of sort our own people out first, because then there's this whole thing of we can't pour from an empty cup. So, like, if we sort our own problems out, like sort out the housing and things like that, kind of we need, like I said, the first thing we need to do is like fill up a lot of these empty buildings. Like we have a lot of, like there's a lot of corporate offices, a lot of just empty buildings that have not been used for years, and they're just there doing nothing, which is quite frustrating, really. Because yeah, I think there's truth to like zoning laws do need to be reduced, I think, and kind of allow more buildings. But I think first of all, we need to be looking at um, putting people into buildings that where they're just empty, vacant buildings, basically. Hi, Georgia. Good to see you again. Thank you for the roses, Rosie. Yeah, so vacant buildings that are just empty for like God knows how long, that are just takes the piss, really, doesn't it? Really, I think. I understand that. Yeah, they own that property, but at the same time, I'm like, well, but somebody needs somewhere to live, and you're just like hoarding that space. Now, some people are suggesting having some kind of land ownership tax or something like that. I don't know what you guys think about that, but could that be a good idea? I think actually confronting corruption like nepotism in power and international tax avoidance, and shutting the obvious loopholes would solve a lot of issues, even related to foreign aid. Right. So how would it like get rid of issues related to foreign aid? Do you think tax vacant properties, so people either sell them or use them? Fine dereliction also, yeah, maybe that could be a thing. Accountability in business needs to be part of our value system. Business should serve the people, exactly, because they are being paid to serve people. And when they're not doing that, then hello, Ali, how you doing? Hope you well. Actually, follow me if you're new here. That would be really appreciated. Hoarding property is actually ridiculous right now worldwide. I know, especially with like things like like these Airbnbs and stuff, and they're just using it as an investment. It's just gotten out of hand, really, hasn't it? You've got all these like Airbnbs that are being like used as investments, and it's just getting too much. So I understand why people are quite concerned with that, because these are properties that could be used by people that need them, and they're just hoarding them for their own profits. So this is what some people talk about, like late stage capitalism and like all this, like the state of capitalism right now with just hoarding resources and being wasteful. That's what like capitalism tends to lead to a lot of waste. I think is the problem when it gets unregulated. I'm Irish, and they've brought in a vacant property register. Supposed to be fining owners of vacant properties. Not really happening though. Yeah, they need to do something about that then, don't they? Because there's actually a thing called adverse possession. Maybe it needs to be reduced so that way, if say like for example, it shouldn't take 10 to 12 years for adverse possession to be a thing. 'Cause you should be able to like say if it's been left vacant for a year or two, I think that's at that point, like someone else should be able to take that property. So they should be proving that they're living there. It's like, okay, you might be vacant from somewhere for a few weeks or a few months at a time. But if you're away from like 1, 2, 3 years, then that's kind of taking the piss, really, isn't it? Like, because then that's not. It's like you're acting as though don't own that home anymore. Like to own a property, I think that it's about actually like possessing it. And you actually live there, and actually, you shouldn't be away from that for too long at a time. Otherwise, I mean, but then how would that be proven? You could argue. How would you know that someone isn't living there? I guess maybe there has to be some kind of like, I don't know, some test to see if that person actually is living there somehow at that point. I don't know how we would do that, but yeah, if somewhere's been vacant for like so long, then someone else should be able to take a claim of that, and then that could help with the affordability crisis, housing crisis, and all that. So what's that? In Ireland, they've said they're gonna tighten up the Airbnb and short-term rental market, but again, waiting for them to act on it is another thing. Yeah, exactly. It's not good, is it? They just take too long with things, and yeah, I think if the transaction of money was way stronger regulated for big companies, then aid money would not disappear. They would go where needed and actually prevent snowballing disasters. Well, I don't know. I don't quite understand, but on the flip side of the vacant property tax, they have brought in subsidies for bringing vacant houses back into the housing market by renovation and retrofitting. Expensive as hell, though, even with it. Yeah, I think that the adverse possession should be something that, like, if a property's been left for so long and it's been, yeah, and someone can somehow gain access to it, then that person should then be able to like claim that property as their own. But it shouldn't take 10 to 12 years because that's a long time. So I think that actually needs to be decreased. So I actually am a supporter of squatters' rights. I think that if you've left a property vacant and you're no longer acting as the owner of that property, then someone else could then take it. Now, there's a thing where you have, I think it's 60 days or something like that to then claim that property as yours. But if they don't, then that property then goes to the other person. But it's just messed up because apparently, like James Corden's abandoned property, they haven't even demolished it yet. It's been there for a few years, just abandoned. And it's worth, I think, 8 million or something like that. It's like a whole estate. It's like got land around it and stuff. It's like, what the fuck are they doing? Why is it taking so long? Like they could have even done something with it. They could have sold it on to somebody else or something, or used it for some other purpose. It's just a complete waste. It's a disgrace. You know? But anyway, I mean, I think when it comes to squatters' rights, I don't think you should be able to like break into somebody else's property though, because I think that is wrong. But sometimes, if say like for example, someone's left an opening or something like that, and you can get in without any force, then I think that is something that James Corden is that the guy singing in college. Yeah, the carpool karaoke thing. Yeah, yeah. He had a property at Henley on Thames. Yeah, that was it was up on a hill just outside there, and it was like a bit hard to get to apparently. But they've boarded it up now, so you can't actually get into it. In fact, someone did try and get into it from the roof, and then used a ladder to get into it or something. But you can't really get into it properly now without really like it's really hard to get into it now. But yeah, there's a lot of vacant properties, and it's just sad because somebody could probably have used that. Obviously, it's a bit out of the way, so it could be a bit tricky, but they could have like had that got to somebody and they could grow food on it or something. You know, they got all that land there. They could grow some food, and people could just have like a kind of self-sustaining kind of life there or something. You know, they could have like, yeah, I don't know. There's things that they could have done with it. Is what I'm saying. But that's the thing. It's like, you know, late stage capitalism, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's just really sad. We shouldn't have all this waste. So we were talking about foreign aid and stuff, and what you're saying is that. So what I was saying, on the flip side of the vacant property tax, they have brought in subsidies for bringing vacant houses back into housing. I've just read that one already. I think if the transaction of money was way stronger regulated for big companies, then the aid money would not disappear. They would go where needed and actually prevent snowballing disasters. So what we're saying is in like basically if we could hold the big companies accountable and they would then be paying for the foreign aid. Is that what you're trying to say? That would probably make more sense, right? So then we don't end up having them all trying to come in here because it is going to start getting overcrowded if it continues. So, yeah, because then we have to keep building more houses, which would then possibly even make the housing market even worse for your average people living here. So, just yeah, like the snowball effect of it, it causes this like knock-on effect of like onto the economy. So yeah, so I think we need to sort out the loopholes, like you said, about making sure these big companies that they're actually paying their share, I guess. But I think that if you're poor, you shouldn't really be paying tax, in my opinion, because they're already struggling as it is. If we actually sorted out the loopholes, in fact, they'd actually pay way more tax than any like average person would pay. So I think that would offset whatever the poor people are not paying. Basically, it's like, and it would probably pay a lot more because let's say the top 1% are paying probably most of the taxes. Well, that's what should be happening anyway. But a lot of it isn't happening. Like for example, you got your Jeff Bezos, your Elon Musk, and they don't really pay hardly any tax, do they? They're getting all these subsidies, but yet they don't barely pay any tax. It's all corrupt. It's all like by design. But yeah, there needs to be more like tightening up of these things, really, I think. Hello, INFJ, how you doing? You all right? When people talk about tax the rich or closing loopholes or anything the billionaires don't like, they threaten to leave and go overseas with their money. Do you think that is something to worry about? Well, actually, I was watching a video about this, actually, funnily enough. I think I watched this the other day, right? And apparently they were looking at it, and that there isn't really that much evidence that would really make that big of a difference. I do think there is a concern, but I don't know, like, how big of a concern and how many of them would actually move to a different country, because sometimes people's livelihoods are like, you know, tied down to this country. Because people are concerned that if those people leave, then therefore they would not be contributing to the tax of this country, and then like, but it's like but they were saying how if one billionaire left the country for say like every few thousand like millionaires or whatever, then it would still be worth it or something like that. If we increase the tax on say like the top 1% or top whatever percent of people, that even if the odd billionaires left the country, that they would still be better overall, is what they were arguing. But that was the excuse that they have to keep these loopholes, you know, opened or something. But yeah, what are your thoughts on that then? Is that something to worry about, or is it just a scare tactic that they use to try and gaslight people and whatever, and just yeah? Do you think that all these billionaires, millionaires, and whatever are all going to leave if we tried taxing them more? Because like, where they go, you know, some might end up going to Dubai or something like that. But I guess it depends. In some cases, some people that are earning a lot of money, they're based in this country, so they can't always just leave. I think honestly, people don't move that easily from where they have benefits of a nice property working society. They could probably live in Nepal with zero tax, but they wouldn't have roads for their Lambos. Or yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of reasons why moving to some of these other places might not be ideal. So like, also it could just be like the things here, commitments and things like that. So it isn't always possible for them to move away from the country that they're born. So like, so yeah, it sounds like it could be a scare tactic that they use to then justify it. Oh, if we close the loopholes, then all these billionaires are just going to leave. Really? You know, how is that going to happen then? Doesn't sound really that plausible to me. Yeah, but people don't really want to live in Dubai for real. It's like a millionaire playground with no real people or life. Yeah, exactly. Hi, Mika. Not too bad, thank you. How about you? That's what it is, right? It's just, I wouldn't want to live in Dubai. Absolutely. Just sounds like a dystopia to me. It's just no soul or anything to it. Yeah, there's some people who are like, they will go there, and, you know, a lot of people just end up getting fed up of it because it lacks any kind of character, any soul to it. Just a bunch of like nepotism and all that. Definitely a scare tactic. All the money and companies are here. Yeah, exactly. Places like London and all that. And some people are remote, like they've got remote businesses and stuff. But unless you're one of those people who can just move anywhere freely, then yeah. Hello, Yel Fuentes Lalan, how are you doing? Welcome in here. Make sure you follow if you're new here. Yeah, INFJ, you still there? What was your name again? But yeah, let's get this shared out if you can. It's over neurodivergent. What you mean? Hi, Cherubby. Been a while. How you doing? Hope you well. Yeah. So it is a scare tactic that they use to then get people to just accept that. Oh well, it's just the way it is. We have all these loopholes and stuff, and we just have to deal with that because they can just move to another country, but that isn't always possible. Like, how would some of these corporations that are based in the UK actually move to somewhere like Dubai? It isn't always possible anyway. We'll see if they all leave New York now, as they said they would with the Mandami guy. Is that the new governor or something? I don't know, but it'd be interesting to see. But I doubt that many would. Some people might. There needs to be some more kind of like. I mean, you could argue as well that if the big companies did leave, then in some cases, yeah, everything's okay, thank you. Oh, it's the new mayor, is it? Right? Is that the same as a governor or something, or what? Or do you mean New York City? Right. So like you've got, let's say, for example, you got small businesses and whatever you right who are struggling. You've got all these big companies that are trying to screw them over and like trying to create monopolies. But if they left the country, could that maybe be actually a good thing in some cases? Because now we have, if that was a case, and let's say some corporation left who was like, say, like, I don't know, some big retailer or something or whatever, and then you had some smaller company that's trying to just get by, but now they've got more kind of they're better able to compete now, is what I'm saying. The smaller companies. So could that potentially be a good thing? Because then we get rid of all these fucking rich fucks out of the country. Now, yeah, it might be less money in taxes or whatever, but at least now we've got more fairer economy or something. I don't know. Could there be some benefits to it? I guess it depends on who left the country, really, but we could argue that it would be bad for tax, but there's probably going to be a lot of people that would stay though, and they would pay the higher rates or whatever. I don't know, because let's say if 1 billionaire left for every 1,000 million, let's say 1,000. What I'm saying is, if with that 1 billionaire left, it would still be better than 1,000 millionaires leaving or something like that. Or I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking right now, but I'm just saying that actual real people with local businesses. Yeah, we need to go back to that, really, don't we? Like, if we had more kind of that sort of going on, then then those businesses could then thrive, and then they would actually be the ones to actually be providing for the economy. Because there's this whole trickle down bullshit that they try and promote, like Reaganomics is what they call it, isn't it? The trickle down effect. But the thing is that because they say, oh, if we tax the rich more, then we don't get the trickle down effect as much. But the problem is that if we tax the rich less, then we're going to have the rich creating more monopolies. which then throttles the local small businesses. Okay, Neo. People would feel more engaged in their local area then as well. Yeah, exactly. We probably have a bit more of a community spirit, I guess. Okay, we're getting some trolls in TikTok right now. So yeah, so maybe it wouldn't be such a bad thing that billionaires would leave. Yeah, say, oh well, they'll just take all that money with them. So fucking what? And if anything, it might actually deflate the economy. As in, like, instead of all this inflation, because all this fucking money everywhere, maybe the money would actually become worth more, perhaps. You know? So maybe it wouldn't be such a bad thing if we got rid of all these fucking billionaires and multi-millionaires. Not totally dissociated as many feel today. Yeah, exactly. Tax the poor more, really. Oh, God. Yeah. Whatever. Tax the poor more, yeah. Of course. Anyway. But yeah, like saying about, like, yeah, having, people connecting to, like, local businesses, and that would be good. It'd be good to have that in society again, because that's what it used to be more like. You used to have a lot of markets and different local businesses that would thrive back in the day. Like those places used to be packed full of people back in like the 60s or whatever. But nowadays it's like a barren wasteland in comparison. Like hardly anyone even really bothers going to those sort of places anymore. Hello, Harry, how you doing? Hope you well. So just talking about the idea of, like, if we were to tax the rich more, people are saying that, oh well, they're going to leave the country. That's a scare tactic that they use or whatever, I think. Also, people say, oh, if we tax the rich more, then that's bad for the trickle down economics. But that's bullshit anyway, I think. Because what happens is you get these big companies and say, oh, but they create jobs. But they take away jobs from small businesses, right? Because how are small businesses able to compete if you've got big businesses trying to outcompete them? Not too bad, thank you. I'm glad that you're doing well. Like, how are we supposed to, like, how are they supposed to compete with all these big companies like Amazon and whatever, who are just like, what I mean? A lot of smaller businesses are really struggling with all the rise of, like, things like Amazon, as well as a lot of these other companies. I mean, there's people trying to, like, boycott some of these companies, but there's only so much that we can do. Sometimes people depend on some of these companies. We have to try and learn to depend on them as least that we can, I guess. It would give others the ability to grow as well as adapt with the tax. Yeah, I suppose. But it's like people are just too afraid to, like, I don't know. I think people are afraid of change is what it is. People think that things just have to stay the way that they are because that's what they know. They say it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't. But it's not always true, is it? We don't know, like, if we haven't tried, then we don't know. Most people didn't earn their rich people jobs where they were let in. What do you mean? In about, like, nepotism and, like, like the whole Nepo babies and how they just got into those levels of power through family connections and friends and what have you. It's not what you know, it's who you know. That kind of just negates the whole idea of meritocracy, because in meritocracy, like, it's about people's merit, not about who you are, who your family is, or whatever. because that means someone could be like have a lack of talent or and like skill and whatever, and become successful, and not because they work hard or anything like that. Yes, that's what I'm on about. I've seen many people in that. Yeah. And it's just not fair. It's like people keep their wealth within their own families. I understand, obviously, if you have children, you want to like give them a good life, but at the same time, I think the problem is that like when people, they never had to work for that, then they're less likely to appreciate it, are they? Even in 40K, 50K jobs, same thing. Yeah. Yeah, if they've never had to like work their way up and they can become quite entitled and have very kind of out of touch kind of attitudes around things. Like when you see people saying stuff like, oh, 40 hours a week isn't even that much. And that's because they don't understand the struggles that everyday people have. For example, some people have to like spend 2 hours in the morning getting ready for work and then getting to work, then another hour or two after work. So the total amount of time is maybe like 12 hours in total. How the fuck are they supposed to like, you know, then have more time to then work on a business? It's like they don't on that day. I mean, yeah, they might have a little bit of time, but they don't seem to have any sort of like empathy for the people who are actually really struggling and they don't have much time left over. Like they have these really out of touch kind of ideas around things a lot of the time because they've just kind of like had everything handed to them easily. Look at security industry, 12 to 12. Yeah. Yeah, in some cases, I'll talk about London, right? Some people living in London, they could be on like 12-hour shifts, 14-hour shifts, just to be able to get by. Yes, yeah, 12-hour shifts. I mean, my uncle used to be on 12 hours on a 12-hour shift, but it was only like 4 on, 4 off. So it's only on average about that's like 42 hours a week, which is still pretty long, but it's like on one week it would be like 48 hours, and then on another week it'd be 36 hours because it's 4 on, 4 off. So it'd be like 42 hours, I guess, minus any kind of like breaks, or whatever. But that's the total amount of time that you're at work. But it's usually about 40 hours, right? 9 to 5, whatever. But um, which is, like I said, for some people, they're having to commute into work from like an hour away. The security agencies have international students on even less than minimum wage. Yeah, yeah, that's right. They can just bring people in, and because they're not from that country, they can do that. And then it's like, but they're still making more and more profits. And yeah, like, Mauricio, how you doing? It's just greed. But I think a lot of the people some of the people they're bringing in, like, it's just like, basically, it's human trafficking, isn't it? It's exploitation. Oh, goodbye. What you mean? Oh, I didn't know you were still there. They're on less than like. Oh, you're going to eat? Okay, take care. Have a good one. How you doing, Marcio? I'm doing fine, thank you. We'll be getting off pretty soon, but yeah, I wasn't going to stay on this long, but it's been an interesting chat. So appreciate the people coming in and actually interacting, and I'd like to do this again later. But yeah, but yeah, what? Yeah. So, any more questions or anything? But I think, yeah, we need to just think like, what is the best solution of like closing loopholes, really? Yeah, should we just pressure the government, or do we need to actually sort of start our own movement or something? Because I don't have faith in this political system. that you vote in another petty dictator or whatever, that's just, I mean, they're not like true dictators, you could argue, but they're kind of like tyrants in a way. Yeah, storm out, but then you bring someone else in and then it's just the same shit, you know? I think both. What do you mean? Like, I don't know, like, really, like, I think the best thing to do is, like, maybe we need to try and create some kind of movement to, like, where we have, like, a sort of, we start infiltrating the government, and then if we get enough influence, then we can start to take over and actually, not in a, like, tyrant kind of way, but as in, it's there to, it's represent the people, and we listen to what the people want. What is it that the people want to change? Instead of just listening to, like, what the corporations want. But then you could say, well, what if it gets corrupted and then people have conflicts of interest? Then how are we supposed to, like, prevent that? So we have to hold each other accountable. And we need to be very transparent about things and where is the money going and stuff like that. Greedy corporations, yeah. But yeah, so I think this whole thing about tax, loopholes, and they're trying to scare people with, like, oh, we'll just leave. But I don't think that hardly will it happen that much. And a lot of people leave countries for different reasons rather than to get better taxes. I think it was on a channel called How Money Works or something it was called. Yeah, where they talked about, won't the rich people just leave the country? But he answered that, have a backup plan, try and change from within during that, make the movement happen. But how are you supposed to do that? It's just, unless we've got enough of, like, a kind of lobby or something, or whatever you want to call it, NGO or something, if we've got enough power and we can sort of, we would have to, like, bribe the politicians ourselves or something. Because imagine if we could get, like, thousands of people on our side, then maybe we would have enough to do that. But then again, the corporations could then out compete that. I don't know. So we've got to think, like, pragmatically or something, that they could just, it's like it goes to the highest bidder, basically, is what happens. The lows and whatever go to the highest bidder pretty much in this system. It's all about who start make connections. But then they might not really be interested in bettering this system because they benefit from it themselves. Focus only on politicians who care about affordability and the needs of normal people, and small businesses have zero tolerance or patience for politicians who are bought as soon as you sniff that out. Yeah. But I think, like, most politicians are corrupt and we have to be careful, and yeah, never fall for scare tactics. Yeah, exactly. That's what they do. They're full of scare tactics, aren't they? But yeah, we need to try and sort out, like, loopholes and things, and just actually make them pay quite a high amount of tax if they're earning over a certain amount of money. Now, I don't think that someone was saying about if they're earning more than a few million that you would start, like, taxing like 90% of anything above that. I think that would start getting a bit extreme, and then people might then actually want to leave. But then again, I don't know. We have to find the right balance, really. The evolution from American welfare politics, right? First, women are brought into work and taxed, then migration and all the multiculturalism, new groups, right? Immigration is just part of capitalism and democracy. Right. Well, like I said, democracy is well, you could argue that immigration is actually anti-democracy because that could basically skew um, things because the interests of the people of this country, in a true democratic sense, is only the people who were born in this country, right? If you're bringing in new people from other countries, that could then change things up. Like Carol, thank you for the heart me. How you doing? So yeah, so if you're bringing in all these people, and this is why they're saying that they want to try and keep bringing in all these people, because they'll vote for these people. You know, they're doing it for the votes basically. So that could be one of the reasons why they're bringing all these. They let all these people come in en masse because they'll get more votes from those people if they can become if eventually they'll become eligible to vote. Of course they are, yeah. So we need to actually like listen to the wants of the people and stuff, but it's just it would just end up skewing things if we start bringing in more and more people. But then again, you could say, well, that's what people want. They want that's what most people want. They want more people coming in or something. But like, I don't know. It's but I think the problem is a lot of people have been just kind of brainwashed. I think democracy can only really work if we have a critically thinking population. Change your own and others' value system to reject corruption and selfishness instead of seeing it as savvy and clever. Hmm. Yeah. Forward tax is that it needs to be properly regulated and that people aren't taking shortcuts, at least here in the US, and promote good work ethics and work environment. Yeah. I mean, it's easier said than done, but it's just we need to have like a yeah, like sort of like I don't know, like with socialism it's about like kind of well in some like forms of socialism it's about workforce owned business or something where like the workforce owns the business. It's owned by the all of the employees and stuff. Some call it employee ownership, where it's like instead of there being this kind of hierarchical thing where it's like you have the boss who like owns it. You have like everybody owns a share in that company. But there is some companies out there like that. I think is it if I remember Waitrose or something like that. One of those companies, I think if I remember, you can become a partner or something like that. But that could be how things could be run. You could argue if we had that aspect of socialism or something where if you work for a company, you should be entitled to a percentage of those profits. So that would arguably incentivize people to work harder and get more money, I would have thought. But the thing is that the corporations only care about their own profits. So they'll pay the workers the least amount that they can, but we will probably see better quality of services and things like that if then it resulted in people buying more and instead of these corporations just trying to, like just like lowball the what they're giving to people basically. Yeah, only in the means of production. That's what I mean. Yeah, the means of production and distribution. So yeah, um, that's what I'm talking about. But there are certain aspects of like socialism that might be a bit bad. Like if, say, we had like an authoritarian government that's like, um, But at the same time, I do think that if you started a company, then you could argue that you have the rights to that company because it was your idea and all that. I think that ownership should depend on like your contribution to it. I think could be a right system. So maybe like for example, if you started the company, you invested at the start of it, then you own most of that company, but then you could have your employees that own some of that company, but like where they become like a partner, kind of like in the YouTube partnership program where you can like, or any of these type of things where, but I think that people should get paid a more fair wage for that. But yeah, so it would all be based on like how much profits that they're making and stuff like that, as to how much of a wage you would get. So if it was successful in that particular shop, so that would encourage everybody to pull their weight to actually. So they would all be trying to encourage each other to work harder. But then some might argue it could become a problem where if people are slacking off, then people would start cause fights and stuff, possibly. So I was thinking about that, a potential drawback. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but there could be individual conflicts and stuff, and people arguing about, like things, and people not pulling their weight and stuff like that, and people having to be like held accountable and be like, yeah, say, oh, you're not like, lifting your weight. We need to like, work harder and stuff. And we need to, you're just being a kind of, and you're not being very good with your customers or something like that. And you're not really helping here. Something like that, I guess. Right. Of course, just as investors own chunks of a company, the workers should own the means of their own labor as well. Yeah. Well, there's this thing called the labor theory of value, which is like a Marxist, like socialist sort of ideology. But I could argue it in some cases there's a point to that, but it's not just about labor. It's about, because sometimes labor itself isn't that valuable, but it's in terms of, it's about the merits, and the value is kind of subjective in some cases. Like, for example, some hard jobs are less valuable than, say, like a skilled, like kind of, like, say, like a software engineer or something like that, right? Those are high skilled jobs, but they're not as physically demanding. They're more like, you can argue they're mentally demanding, but it's more skill based rather than labor based, if you get me. So in terms of like, yeah, as with many things, there's a balance, of course. Yeah. Yeah. So like, I think I agree that like the workers should own a chunk of that, I guess, and that profits, a percentage of the profit should go to them. So for example, you have 10 people working at a business, and then you have 9 of them are employees, and then you've got the boss who's like, would earn the most amount of money, but the 9 people would still get a decent chunk of that. So, for example, they would all earn, let's say, 5% of the profits each, or so, whatever. And then maybe even more, let's say 7 or 8%. And then maybe like the boss would earn 20 to 30% of the profit. Something like that might be a good balance, where it's like they're all earning a pretty good chunk of that profit, but the boss would earn a bit more because they are responsible for it all. Like if you're in a higher position in that company, you get paid more. And in that system, it would actually encourage more sort of upward mobility, because then people could invest money and then help them to actually get leverage to higher positions and things, start their own businesses as well. So people talk about how in capitalism it allows for upward mobility, but the problem is that a lot of cases it just doesn't really Who was that? What are you talking about? I was talking about um, like a employee ownership or ownership of means of production. The thing with that is that like I said about it's about trying to make it practical and yeah, I get what you mean, but I think people need to feel more invested in their work and be motivated to do good. Both low and high skilled, of course, people will have different salary and status. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So I think it's about a balance between kind of, you could say there needs to be a balance between capitalism and socialism and stuff, where it's like kind of where we can take some of the best from both, where it's like we allow, say, like um, the owner to own most of the share of that company, but the employees need to feel valued and that they are contributing what their contributions are then being compensated. A lot of stuff is hoarded, empty. That area is expensive to live in. Yeah, I was talking about like wastefulness and stuff. Yeah, it seems local businesses have happier and more motivated workers. For instance, probably because they feel more connected to the company's success. Yeah, exactly. I think the problem is when you've got these big companies who, um, yeah, they're just like say like in Amazon warehouses and things like that. You're not really feeling connected to that, are you? A lot of people feel like their job really serves no value in society because they can't actually see the value that it's creating. Really, they have no connection to the customer a lot of the time, and even if they did, it's like they don't oftentimes really feel that sense of. Sometimes even like they don't even show appreciation. Sometimes the customer, so it's just one of those things. It's a lot of people just don't really show any like appreciation for anything anymore. And I think that's a big problem, really. But yeah, I don't think we're ever going to do away with corporations necessarily, but maybe we can try to like limit their monopoly and whatever. It's overcrowded, but easier to get stuff into an island than a landlocked country. Right. What do you mean? In about the whole migration thing? I've kind of moved past that if that's what we're talking about. But we need to look at like filling up empty buildings before addressing like the zoning laws and stuff like that. And because that's just like, there is a problem with that, but it's like, that's something that we'll deal with later, I think. Nice trying today. See you around. Okay, take care. Yeah. I'm getting off in a second, guys. But yeah, any more questions before I wrap this up? I have to get to the toilet anyway. So yeah, so I should be back on later, really. Yeah, thank you all for hanging out with me. It's been a good time. Kayla, you all right? Thank you for the follow, Woody. All right, Woody. I'm doing fine, thank you. How are you doing today? I'm just about to get off. Just been talking a lot about the changes that need to happen in society and in terms of like the economics and stuff, economic policies and what have you, because there's a lot that needs sorting out. But none of these politicians give a damn, even like say reform. They're all just, it's like they're cosplaying as somebody that actually gives a damn. It's just all a lob. It's just a way of trying to gain power, and then it'll just be more of the same probably. And then people regret voting for him, just like how they regret voting for Keir Starmer. But yeah, I do think that like workforce should probably like own some of the means of production. There should be more. They should have more say in like what goes and so maybe a system that's like a more of a hybrid where we have individual ownership plus some ownership from like the rest of like the employees and stuff. So that could be like a balance that we could kind of find some compromise sort of thing. Because there needs to be still some incentive for people to want to try and become entrepreneurs and stuff, and that way people will invent things and stuff. I think there needs to be that incentive there to actually make more money and stuff. Otherwise, people don't have much of an incentive to do that if they're not going to make more money from their inventions, you know? I don't know. So I need to be able to have like individual ownership, I guess. But yeah, basically like with capitalism, it can either be individual ownership or corporate ownership or whatever, but we need people to share and create. Yeah. But if say like someone invented something and then they like started hiring people to their company, should they then have to like share all those profits equally to everybody? I don't think so. They should have to give them a fair wage, I think, and they should have maybe like some kind of share in that company. There needs to be a balance, is what I'm saying. There needs to be a balance between fair trade and like kind of and just kind of we need to be realistic and be like, well, who's gonna like want to invent stuff and come up with innovations if they then have to start splitting all the revenue equally to everybody that starts to then become hired for that company that they then start. So it doesn't really give any incentive to become an entrepreneur, basically. So yeah, so like this is why a lot of that like socialism probably would not work in a sort of traditional sense, I guess. There would probably have to be some kind of compromise. Yeah, you have a good day too. Yeah, some companies give stocks to their employees, but they don't have to be at a certain level, like Caravan. What do you mean, Caravan? I don't know. I mean, there is things like that, but yeah. But a lot of people might even struggle to get to that point in the first place. Hi, Esther. How you doing? I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. I'm going to get off in a sec, but yeah, any more questions before I go? Yeah. Just have a drink. Yeah, I think like how much shares you get should depend on like your contributions and stuff, but or Carvana, all right. Oh, I don't know. Never heard that one actually. It's just you put caravan. Well, it is an anagram of that, but yeah. Don't listen to shit. So what you mean? What's that you're talking about? Hi, Richard. How you doing? All right. Well, I think I'm about to get going. So, last question before I go. Anything else you want to say before I go? So I really do need to get going. I've been on here for long enough, really. So, like, it's literally been on for what? Over 3 hours I've been on. So, yeah, in total. Okay. Well, that's about it then. All right. I'll see you all later. All right. Bye for now. Favorite thing? I'm not sure. I'm going, guys. Bye.